Hey guys, how's it going? Gonna check out the new Ascendancy changes here. Um, I don't know if this is all of them, if they're gonna show us some here right after this or during the patch notes today. But anyway, we got the Gladiator here first. So they added, looks like attack speed, fizz damage. So little nodes, attack speed on everyone, and then movement speed on the way to the new node. Other than that, everything else seems to be the same. And then we have this new Challenger charge node, which is Arena Challenger. 2% more, so more multiplier, attack damage, and movement speed. That's going to be really cool for getting around. How many charges? 10. So that would be the same thing as a Deadeye as far as having, what is it, Tailwind. So it's essentially Tailwind. And 25% chance to gain a charge when you hit a rare or unique enemy while in Blood Stance. And gain a Challenger charge when you kill an enemy while in Sand Stance. Okay, so it's going to be the dancing between blood and sand. I was wondering what they were going to do when they announced that they were going to have Gladiator be the sand and blood dancing type character, but not too bad. So essentially you're just getting Tailwind by being in whatever stance you're in. It's pretty cool. So blood, of course, is going to be the more damage one. So for looks like single target, what they showed off in one of the attacks is sand caused one to be an AoE. So looks like we're going to get a lot of damage coming out of the blood stance for things. So that'll be cool to see what they do with that and see how they progress that. Gladiator is probably not going to be my primary I go. I am curious to see what they're going to do with bleeds, but for now, not one that I'm looking forward to playing too immediately, but if the patch notes show that there's some kind of bleed, then I'm all about that. And I kind of do want to try my bleed shield throw that I did, like, well, I guess the league that it came out. It was okay, but now that Spectral Shield Throw can go through entrances really easy, that's pretty awesome. But anyway, let's move on to the Chieftain. So, let's see. What is new here exactly? Maximum regen. Okay, so 1 and 2. So maximum regen, life regenerated per second per endurance charge. 3% more damage for each endurance charge lost recently. Up to 15% plus 1 maximum endurance charge. Okay, so that's really cool to get the plus 1 endurance charge. So this looks like another option for Righteous Fire. The regen there. So that's what I'm looking at so far. Regen on the way. Endurance charge duration. 3 and 4. Chance to gain. Okay. Oh, when you use a fire skill. Oh, that's kind of cool. I mean, either just casting fireballs, or even if you're doing Righteous Fire, doing Scorching Ray as you cast it over and over again, just to build those up. Physical damage per endurance charge and fire damage per endurance charge. Okay, pretty cool. Life regen and endurance charge duration on the way. Okay, here we go. We got more life regen, totem placement speed. So we get a totem node, Tukahama War Herald. Okay, so 1% of the damage dealt is leached to his life. Okay, so that's just 2 points now. 50% increased effect of buffs. Grant. Ooh. So I guess we could do Ancestral Protector with that 50% increased buff over the Ancestral War Chief. That'd be kind of cool. Kind of looking at my Oros type builds that I used to do. That would be kind of cool to bring back. Ancestor totems have 100% increased activation range. That is huge. actually. That's pretty cool. That was one of my things, is if you had to run away, the totem would deactivate pretty quickly. They were essentially melee totems, because you had to stay in a pretty close range. That was one of my biggest problems with them early on. Doing stuff like lab was kind of a pain. Okay, we got 25% increased area effect while you have a totem. Okay, well, that's just kind of a cool little buff. Okay, 7 and 8. Fire resistance, life regen per second. Cool. Looks like everything's life regen probably. Okay, so now we got Tecelio cleansing water, 100% to fire resistance, 2% of life regenerated per second, 10% of physical damage from hits taken as fire damage. Pretty good defense so far. 50% increased life recovery rate if you've taken fire damage. That's not going to be too often. Well, I guess, okay, so physical damage from hits taken as fire. So if you take physical or fire damage, then you get that. Yes. Okay, I guess that's technically, what is that? 20% of the time, 40% of the time, something like that? Yeah, 40% of the time, technically. If you throw chaos damage in the mix. Damage from an enemy hit recently. Oh, whoops. Unaffected by ignite. Okay, cool. Now we got totems are immune to fire damage, so now we're here. Enemies near your totem deal 8% less damage, and enemies near your totems take, okay, so that's the same thing. So that node didn't change. 11, increased fire damage and regen, and then we're going to 12, chance to ignite, more burning damage, and damage penetrates 15% fire damage. Okay, the burning's kind of cool, and ignite, but so I guess you could take this on a righteous fire, but you're only really gaining that node. This really would be good for something, I guess, like a incinerate, maybe a fireball or a flame blast, kind of like half ignite, half initial hit. Hinekora Death's Fury. 1% of fire damage leeches life. Okay, so that's where that went. 20% chance to cover rare unique enemy in ash for 10 seconds on hit. And 10% strength. That's now the bottom one. Then more regen and fire. That's the last one here. Fire and regen. Cool. And we've got 16 with 50% of physical damage converted to fire. Every 10 seconds gain 100% of physical damage as extra fire damage. That, I think, went up. Either way, there's that. I want them to add some way that we can tell when you've got it and when you don't. So, but anyway, now my favorite that I was hoping would get some pretty good buffs, and we'll see here. And this is probably going to be what I use for my starter. Slayer, let's see, we're gonna just go down the list. So here we go, 1 and 2. Crit chance, looks like we're gonna get crit, base crit, strike chance for attacks with weapons is 8%. Woo. Okay, so I was planning on doing something with Terminus Est, which actually I think has 8.6%, so I can't use that. Would that lower it? That would be awkward if it lowers it. If it's higher, then that would, if it goes ahead and uses it, so I might take that node. But if it lowers my crit chance, that would be awkward. Plus 10% to critical strike multiplier per nearby enemy, up to 100%. Okay, that's going to be 10% on bosses, so I mean, that's pretty cool. Nearby enemies have 30% or minus 30% to critical strike multiplier, so that's some definitely defense against bosses. Okay, that's cool. Okay, 3 and 4 going up here, so I think that's the same, and I think that's the same, unless they got rid of the, was it two-handed? Wasn't, yeah, I think these were two-handed, so I guess they got rid of the two-handed thing. Okay, what's the headsman? 10% more damage if you killed recently. Cannot take reflected physical, cool, and 20% more damage against unique enemies. I mean, if you've killed recently, that's 30% plus that. On average with a boss, you've got 30% essentially. That's huge. That is huge. Just taking these two nodes is so much damage. Will I even... I'm gonna have to find another answer for Leech, possibly. Because that's big. Because this is gonna be the culling, unless they changed it. Kill enemies that have 20% or lower life when hit. Yeah, okay, so there's the 20% cull. Gain 20% increased attack speed for 20 seconds. Oh wait, that's not onslaught anymore. It's just 20% of each. Oh, that's big. Because now if you get onslaught, that's big. Yeah. Dude, the amount of damage in these like 6 nodes here is insane. I mean, I guess, okay, so unless they have the stun thing still here, I hope they add the stun thing back to this. 20% of overkill damages leeches life, cannot be stunned. Yes, okay. While leeching, you are immune to bleed while leeching. Cool. So that's still this. Well, I kind of want to... kind of love the immune to bleed. So what if I took these 4 and these 2 and then use that one belt? I don't know if the gloves from Synthesis are going to be available much, but that might be an idea. Okay, let's look at Brutal Fervor. Increased attack speed while leeching, that's new. Life leech effects are not removed at full life. Increased attack damage while leeching, and reduced damage taken while leeching. So a bit offense, decent offense I guess. A little bit of defense, and just the non-removed life leech. Can't remember what they did to it, but I know they got rid of some of the usefulness of the leech rate. So I guess now there's no leech rate. I can't remember if they had already taken it, but I'm pretty sure these 3 are new completely on this node. Let's see. Impact, 50% increased global accuracy rating. Okay, so this is 11 and 12. Area effect and attack. +2 to melee weapon and unarmed range. We already know that that's going to be big, so that's cool. Increased area effect per enemy killed recently, up to 50%. So that's probably what we saw with Cyclone getting bigger, maybe in the trailer. Do up to 15% more melee damage to enemies based on proximity. Is that closer? I mean, that's still another buff. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. You're playing an up-close melee skill, 15% more. You got essentially 20 to 30% more there. That's a lot of damage. Okay, and the global accuracy, now accuracy, and you won't need that much with that node. Ooh, that's a contender instead of taking this. I don't know, I'll have to weigh out these 2, or, well, these 3 I'm going to have to weigh out. I really don't think I could not take these 4. And then I'll weigh out these. Well, okay, what's 13 and 14? Let's see what we got to compete here. Attack damage, endurance charge, okay. 50% duration, 50% duration for endurance and frenzy. And your maximum endurance charges is equal to your maximum frenzy charges? Is this discharge, cast while channeling discharge Cyclone Slayer? Is there an easy way to get frenzy charges and endurance charges at the same time? And I don't know. I guess you could make Warcry's instant something. Okay, that's something I gotta play around with. I don't know. That might be some wonky meme build that I make. We'll have to see, but cool. Lots of damage. Okay, so that one's not going to be competing with what I'm doing, but these These 3. I'm going to have to pick 4 out of these 6. That's going to be hard. Like, yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, now, finally, Berserker. The other one that I'm interested in. So I'm definitely doing a Slayer. I'm definitely doing a Berserker. Who knows? I mean, it's melee, so a lot of this is going to be interchangeable depending on which you're playing. So there's a few skills I want to play because they've changed how they work. But let's see here. 1 and 2. 80% increased critical strike chance for attacks. Okay, so another crit. Ooh. Adds 20 to 30 physical damage to attacks if you've dealt a crit recently. 30% to critical strike multiplier. So that's just solid damage and crit damage. Okay. Blitz. Number 4 at the end. 2% more attack speed per blitz charge. So again, a more attack speed multiplier. That's a lot of attack speed. That's crazy. 20 to maximum blitz charges. It's 40% more attack speed. So 10% reduced critical strike chance per blitz. So you got crit damage and crit here. So either you can just take this for crit node, or you got to get 200% increased crit to counter number 4. I don't know which one. So I guess you just do a flat damage and not worry about crit with this, or you can take crit, and if you do take this, you got to get 200% just to counter that. It's gonna be insane to get that much, but it's doable. But I don't know if you're really gonna make a successful crit build out of that. Okay, here we go. Physical attack damage, Warcry duration, 20% life and mana duration, 100%. Warcry cooldown recovery, 100%. And I think they've added this. If you've Warcry recently, you and nearby allies have 10% increased attack speed. That's cool. And deal 30% increased damage. So that's 5 and 6. 7 total recovery from leech. So I guess they moved the leech stuff here. So this is just 2% damage leeches life and mana. Increased attack speed if you've been hit recently. So even more attack speed. This is all about attacking fast. Maybe Molten Strike for Berserker. I kind of want to do a Ground Slam is what I was kind of thinking of, but maybe Molten Strike. Been done a Molten Strike in a while. 50% increased maximum total recovery per second from life leech if taking a savage hit. So I guess the savage hit attack speed is now just if you've been hit, and now you gain total recovery per second. That's actually pretty big. So now we've got attack speed and physical damage for 9 and 10, so we're going here. So I guess it's going to be the rage. And you gain 1 rage on hit with attacks, no more than once every, so essentially 3 rage a second. 1% chance to deal double damage per 4 rage. Okay, rage is 50, so that's 12% chance to deal double damage. I mean, that's insane, actually. You lose 1 rage every 0.5 seconds if you've not been hit or gained rage recently. Okay, so that's kind of cool. It's 4 seconds of keeping the stacks. You gain the following effects for having rage. They change these: 1% increased attack damage, so that goes to 50. 1% increased attack speed. Okay, so that's 25, okay, per 2. And then 1% increased movement speed per 5, so that's 10% movement speed. Now I wonder if those still double. Rite of Ruin. Lose 0.1% of maximum life per second per rage while you are not losing rage. So while you're hitting things, you are losing 5% of your max life. Okay, that's pretty cool, because then if you're leeching it back, you should be able to sustain that. Okay, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good trade-off. I like it. effects granted for having rage are tripled. That is pretty absurd. It's 150% attack damage, 75 attack speed. What? And 30% movement speed. Wow, that's crazy, dude. Okay, don't even need boots. No big deal. Okay, so let's see. Physical damage, attack speed, 13, and 14 is just the more damage and increased damage taken. So that's the same. Okay, here, let's go ahead and tack on the challenge rewards. So let's see. Got the helmet. Looks pretty cool. Ooh, it's pretty cool aura effect. Wings are okay, I guess. If I get 36, and there's the totem. Okay, cool. So if I get 36, I mean, it'll be cool. You know, if I just kind of can come by it pretty easy. But if I have to grind it and try to get it like I did this league, because I really wanted the wings this league, I think I'm just kind of going to pass. But I'm definitely going to go for 24. That's a pretty cool aura effect. And I mean, the helmet looks pretty cool. So, not too bad. But, yeah. I guess that's it for now. In the next video I'm going to do the development manifesto because it looked pretty long. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz and whatnot. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.